So, forgiveness. I think everyone in here knows that we have to, if we are good Christians, we have to practice forgiveness. It's not easy. It's one of those simple things to say, but very difficult to do. At least it's quite easy to say, oh, well, I forgive you. But what do you hold in your heart? That's the hard thing to do, isn't it? And it's a bit hypocritical, really, isn't it? Because we want forgiveness for ourselves. This is what we come to the Lord for forgiveness. That's what Jesus has promised us. He sits at the left hand of God, right hand of God, sorry, and intercedes for us so that we can receive forgiveness. But as the parable shows us, and it's one of the simpler ones, some of Jesus' parables have to be explained to the disciples, but this one is crystal clear. If you can't forgive others, you cannot expect to be forgiven yourself. Sometimes we see the most wonderful examples of forgiveness. Parents who've had a child murdered forgive the murderer. It doesn't mean that the murderer is not going to be punished. And that's not what we're asked to do. To give you another example, me personally, I hate being lied to. It really gets my goat. And it's taken me time to learn that I can forgive someone who's lied to me, but that doesn't mean that I have to trust everything that they say in the future. You know, I can forgive them for lying, but in the future, I'll double check to see if what they've told me is true. And if I need to forgive them another time, a second time or a third time, or as Jesus says, 77 times, now I've come to understand that, then yes, I can do it, I can forgive. And of course, if I can't forgive, then I don't deserve forgiveness either, do I? At the moment in the Holy Land, there is terrible war. And that's because neither side can forgive the other. What is left in your heart if you cannot exercise forgiveness? If someone has wronged you and you can't forgive them, you're just as bad, you're equally wrong in the sight of God. And it twists you up inside. And this is what's happened in the Holy Land, doesn't it? This is what's happened where one group or another, feeling so oppressed, has taken the concept of revenge and allowed them to twist them up inside. People strap explosives to themselves, become living bombs, just to try and take a few people with them. Or they take up guns. Recently there was an incident at a bus stop in Tel Aviv where a couple of gunmen opened fire on a bus queue, knowing full well that they were going to get shot down as well. What does it accomplish? Nothing. Except more deaths. There there's an expression, a proverb if you like. If you seek revenge, first dig 2 graves. Because it will consume you as well as your target. We all need to seek forgiveness at one time or another. Some of us more often than others. When I first became a Christian, I talked to God all the time. That sounds a bit odd, doesn't it? I talked to God more when I first became a Christian than I do now in terms of number of times. But that's because I kept having to say sorry. So most of my conversations were a bit one-sided, if you like. But I always felt that I could obtain forgiveness. And that was marvellous. And it still is. If we can't forgive those who trespass against us, where does that come from? How can we expect our own trespasses to be forgiven? And that's what our piece of scripture was all about, wasn't it? Forgiveness, it's very hard to do. If someone has really wronged you badly, if someone's hurt you inside, it's very hard to forgive them. But you need to give it up. You can't allow somebody else's actions that have hurt you to poison you inside. Because you'll carry that poison with you. And it will poison your relationship with other people. It will poison your relationship with God. And there's one more type of forgiveness that I want to talk about. I'm sure you've all heard the phrase, I could never forgive myself if such and such happened. Or, I can't forgive myself for letting that happen or for doing that. Actually, we do need to find forgiveness for ourselves as well. And that probably starts with saying sorry. Saying sorry to whoever it is that you've wounded. And I've always believed that if you've publicly wronged somebody, they deserve a public apology. But also, and the route to forgiving yourself, you have to be able to be perfectly honest with yourself and more importantly to God that you have done wrong, and exactly what you've done wrong, and ask forgiveness of God, because only God can truly forgive. And in doing so, you may well receive the wisdom to start to make amends. It's part of the cleansing of the soul. So forgiveness is vital. Forgiveness for others if they've wronged us. Seeking their forgiveness if we've wronged them. Seeking the forgiveness of God so that vengefulness and hurt doesn't poison us inside. Sometimes even the people that you most love will really annoy you. I have learnt over the course of years, if my daughter does something to annoy me, I don't say anything about it straight away. I wait until the next day. And this goes for Alice as well. And Alice follows the same rule that I do with me. Because by the next day it probably won't seem very important anyway. and you can have a sensible conversation, and there won't be a shouting match. And that's how it works in families as well. But forgiveness, one of those cardinal virtues. Didn't Jesus say that we have to treat our neighbour as ourselves? If we want forgiveness for ourselves, surely we have to be back in. And that's the message for